Good evening. Welcome to Hungarian Public Media's News in English, Hungary Reports. I'm Híradó, bringing you today's news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin. Let's get started. The current state of the pandemic makes it possible to start the school year normally, the Minister of Human Resources, Miklós Kásler, said. He added that institutions have been prepared to protect students and staff from the virus and to prevent its spread. Schools will have to disinfect surfaces regularly, social distance, and be capable of isolating possible infected cases. School books should arrive in institutions this weekend, and from this year on, no student will have to pay for their textbooks.
This elementary school in Székesfehérvár is preparing for the school year. The institution is prepared for students. Textbooks have been distributed on the desks. Teachers watched information videos to know what they have to pay special attention to. We've organized lots of outdoor activities. PE and folk dancing classes, for example, will be held outside. We have to put great emphasis on continuously disinfecting our hands and surfaces. We will pay special attention to the number of students in the cafeteria and ensure that only one class will be inside at once, the director of the school said. Schools are prepared and have outlined their action plans based on the government's guidelines. 3 areas were highlighted in the epidemiological protocol: social distancing, disinfection, and separation. Doctors will have great responsibilities. They also received guidelines from the government. Only healthy children will be allowed to go to school, and in case they have coronavirus symptoms, they will have to stay home for at least 10 days. Excluding the possibility of the infection is only possible by testing. This academic year will be unusual in all respects, but it is safe to start it, the Minister of Human Resources said. Miklós Kásler pointed out that by following regulations, students' health can be guaranteed, and if new measures become necessary, they will be taken. The idea behind our recommendations is to stop the paths of infection, which in practice means we either have to wear masks or keep our distance. The latter is probably to be followed in lower grades. We've also advised schools to avoid larger gatherings, either in the hallways, the bathrooms, or the gym, the minister said. 1,300,000 elementary and middle school children are starting the school year. They will receive textbooks for free. The books are arriving as planned and are expected to be fully delivered this weekend.
The Hungarian lottery company Szerencsejáték Zrt. has donated almost €500,000 to 3 pandemic hospitals in Budapest. The hospitals plan to use the donation to purchase medical equipment and instruments needed to fight COVID-19. The money will also be used to continue developing coronavirus therapies, such as cellular therapy.
It's small but effective. This air cleaner is able to disinfect 300 cubic meters of air in a short period of time, something that is essential during the novel coronavirus pandemic. The equipment arrived a few days ago to Szent János Hospital, just like the disinfecting robot, which will be utilized in the operating room. The way we can visualize this robot and the way it works is to think of it as a robotic vacuum cleaner. It goes round and round the operating room. It is the size of a person and it works with UV rays. It kills pathogens with UV radiation, Péter Takács said. The machines were purchased by the hospital with the help of Szerencsejáték Ltd. The firm allocated nearly €142,000 to 3 separate hospitals in Budapest that are dealing with the pandemic. The lab of Szent László Hospital will also receive support. The hospital will not only attain new machines, they will also be able to develop their innovative treatments. For example, cell therapy. Director General István Vályi Nagy told M1 News that according to observations, this procedure may be key in restoring the health of coronavirus patients, as the body defends itself not only with antibodies but also with cells. In young people, very few antibodies are formed. Nevertheless, they still defeat the virus. We are beginning to think that young people and those who are healthy overcome the virus, and that cellular immune response plays a vital role in this. István Nagy said, "There is a great need for similar therapies as the number of infections is rising."
More Hungarians, including myself, got married in the first 7 months of the year, fresh demographic data showed. Compared to the numbers from the same period in 2019, there were almost 5% more children born and about 5% fewer deaths, even despite the pandemic.
Lots of Hungarians decided to tie the knot this year. According to recent demographic data, in the first 7 months of the year, 2,000 more people decided to get married than in the same period last year. It wasn't just the number of marriages that grew. More people decided to have children, too. The number of births rose by 5%, and the population decline slowed. Jenő Kutasi, the vice president of the National Association of Large Families, told M1 News that they have also noticed the reassuring tendency. We've noticed that more children were born this year than in 2019, just within our organization, and as we have 13,000 family members, this can be seen as a representative sample, the vice president said. Experts hope that demographic figures will continue to improve. The government's family policies also hope to contribute to that. We are trying to help young adults with everything we can to make it possible for them to have children. We would like no financial barrier in Hungary for anyone who wants to raise a child in a responsible way. This is why we are raising government support for every child. Textbooks will be free of charge from this academic year. The sum dedicated to school meals will be greater, and the Erzsébet camps will be organized this year as well for the children, Katalin Novák explained. The state secretary added family allowances are continuously growing. For example, the sum of the 6th-month infant care allowance will rise by a 1-month salary from July 2021.
The National Meteorological Service has installed an automated radio probe in Budapest. Using the instrument, they'll be able to examine the atmosphere at up to 30 kilometers from the ground, which will help prepare more precise weather forecasts. Until now, the observation balloons were launched into the air using manpower twice a day.
The National Meteorological Service stores this balloon here, inflating it to carry a radio probe into the atmosphere. Within 2 hours, it can reach up to 30 kilometers of altitude. Meanwhile, because of the drop in air pressure, its size increases nearly tenfold. All of this, however, is in the past. Thanks to the service's new development, an automated weather balloon will take care of the job. In 850 locations around the world, meteorologists launch similar atmospheric probes at almost exactly the same time to collect the data they need to create forecasts. This 113-ground device is sent up into the air with the balloon. It measures the air temperature, humidity, and pressure every 2 seconds. With the help of a locating device, we can determine the direction and speed of the high wind. The director of the Meteorological Service said, "The installment of automated radio probes counts as cutting-edge technology in Europe." István Nagy, the Minister of Agriculture, spoke of how precise weather forecasting is not only important in terms of the agricultural industry, but also in everyday life. Hail is not only detrimental in terms of the agricultural perspective, but it can also negatively impact monetary resources, István Nagy said. The automated radio probe now in operation is the most advanced technology that is available at this time to perform such tasks. In Hungary, 2 such devices were set up for operation, costing nearly 483,000 euros. One is in the capital at the Marcel György main observatory, while the other is in the southern city of Szeged.
The past is brought to life in the historic park of Híradó. It shows where a church and the Johannite monastery stood in the 1200s and where the Turkish fought the Hungarian army, for example. And Béla IV is known to have rested at the spring of the Máriás Creek that flows nearby. The park shows the historic crossroads of the country and the city in 10 stations. The visitor's favorite is usually the Palánkvár because it is still the perfect scene to imagine the battles that went on there. Hungary is famous for its athletes' performance in water sports. One of the reasons that's possible is that there are countless places to practice them near the capital. Ráckeve is an exemplary tourist site on the Csepel Island area, and it's close to Budapest. Islands, bays, and lagoons make the aquatic environment very challenging there. Visitors can enjoy 1 to 2 hour or even day-long canoe trips in the area. That's all for today. Catch the English news every day around 11:20 p.m. local time or stream it anytime online. Coming right up are M1's other foreign language news broadcasts. Thanks for watching. Good night.